For the second time, the Kuala Lumpur Foundation to Criminalize War is putting a former head of state and their administration before a people's court to face charges of torture and war crimes. In a packed courtroom, including former high flyers from the United Nations, lawyers appointed to defend the Bush regime in their absence face an uphill task. Abbas Abid, a father from Fallujah, appeared in a scarf, fearing reprisals. He enacted how US troops subjected him to electric shocks, beatings and sexual abuse over a number of months. High-ranking former UN officials here are expressing frustration.
The UN is a weak body and will always be weak, and it's corrupted by the member states who use the Security Council for their own vested interests. They don't respect the Charter, they don't respect international law, they don't respect the Geneva Conventions. And as long as that continues, the UN is going to be somewhat redundant, possibly a dangerous and certainly a corrupted organisation.
An avalanche of information emerging after the launch of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars has provided the strongest proof yet that America and her ally the UK are involved in practices that their leaders publicly deplore. Mozambique, British former Guantanamo Bay detainee, who has received compensation from the British government, described to a shocked court how his torment began the moment he was handed over to American troops by the Pakistani authorities.
I was thrown onto the floor of the plane and strapped down over the ankles and thighs. I was punched and kicked throughout. A knife was put to my throat, and I was threatened that my throat would be slit if I spoke.
Meanwhile, Malaysia's former Prime Minister and founder of the Foundation to Criminalize War remains determined to bring Bush and his cohorts to justice.
I hope people in the world will take notice, and they should actually ostracize these people. These are basically murderers, and they kill on a large scale. That is, a person who murders one person should be hanged. But a person who caused the death of so many people should be honored. This is actually not in keeping with our ideas about civilization.
There's pride here too that Tony Blair has already been convicted of war crimes by the tribunal in 2011. Now, if Bush and Cheney are similarly found guilty at the end of this week, the question will arise: which US organisation will have the nerve and the power to try the same thing? Lauren Booth, Press TV, Kuala Lumpur.